What's going on, everybody? This is Harris DeMarco, Speak podcast host. Today, I'm very excited to record this episode. It's actually a friend of mine who I graduated high school with. She runs a travel blog for the past 12 years called travelingjerseygirl.com. She's the author of Spiritual Nomad, A Journey Within and Abroad, a book that she launched last year. And she's also working on a second book, which is going to be helping teens with anxiety. So, welcome our guest today, Laura. What's happening, Laura?
What's good?
How do you feel? How's life?
Good. I know it's like I feel like I haven't seen you since 2000.
I know. You look the same, but I look a little different.
No, you look the same to me.
Yeah, my hair shifted it. Instead of here, now it's down here.
Yeah.
So, what's up? I haven't talked to you since high school. It's really awesome to like always catch up with people that like you haven't seen in a long time.
I know. Well, a lot's happened in 10 plus years, but yeah, pretty much all good stuff. I mean, I don't live in Jersey anymore, but I moved up to New York, so I'm actually just an hour north. So it's not too
okay. Are you like right in the city or like upstate?
No, I mean, it's called, Rockland County.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, or like, so I'm up in this area. It's not far, but I still have family and friends down in Edison, so I come down there sometimes. Plus, like the restaurants I miss so much from.
Oh yeah, the food's great here. You can't beat it.
I know. Do you know I met someone what was it, last May? I went to Cuba and I met some Indian family and they asked where I was from. And I was like, oh, I used to grow up in Jersey and I lived in Edison. He was like, in Edison? He's like, they have the best Indian food ever. I was like, only in Cuba. Meet someone who was like talking about Edison, New Jersey.
That's so weird.
Like small fucking world.
Yeah, it's weird. Like even when I go out, like some people they know Edison, New Jersey. Like that's like a hub, especially in like really close to New Brunswick too. So something about it, man. I know, but growing up in Edison, it's like who gives a shit?
Yeah, you don't appreciate it until you leave.
So how's your brother doing? Andrew's good?
Yeah, he's good. He's out in LA. Or no, he's out in California. I forget where he's at. In the Bay Area, I think. But he's a chef. So
yeah, I see some of his stuff. It's pretty cool. I haven't talked to him in a while either.
Yeah, he's in his own bubble out there, but he's doing well, so it's good. But I mean, him and his friends got screwed with this whole Corona thing with like the restaurants and everything.
Oh yeah.
So he's just like, it's crazy out here, and I was like, well, just be glad you're not here in New York because it's like bad over here,
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, being where you're at. I mean, it's bad here in Jersey, but hey, on the West Coast, it's kind of bad too. It seems like there's cases popping off on both coasts, but I don't know. We just got to sit tight right now and hope for the best,
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, I saw you on Tea with Gary V, and I've followed Gary V for a long time, like since like the Ask Gary V days and like his early YouTube days. So when I was like drinking my coffee, logging into work and checking my Instagram and stuff, and I saw Gary's post and I was like, all right, what you got from last episode or whatever? And I was like, oh shit, I know her. I was like so shocked like to see you on there, and I've been trying to get on like since Ask Gary V show way back.
Yeah,
and
for a long ass time. Well, I've been following him too for a while, and like because once I heard he's from Edison, like Jersey, I was like, oh, I like this guy. But yeah, it took me a while to get on.
Yeah, I was so psyched, and it was a really dope episode too, like a little clip, but there were so many nuggets in there. I'm not even kidding. Like that's why I reposted that clip, because I was watching and I was like, dude, this like I needed to hear this. Like the questions that she's asking, because you were writing, you're trying to like, get some turnover and things like that. So I know that feeling. Like I'm creating podcasts, I'm trying to create turnover, I'm, working on that following, all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I totally related to that, but it was just really cool, like seeing from your perspective, and some of the things that you're going through. It was just, I don't know, something about it.
Yeah, but it was definitely surreal. did not expect that call to go the way it did. Like in my mind, I had it so different. I was like, no, we're going to talk about my blog and like, he's going to help me try to figure it out. And like, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Things about videos?
Yeah.
But it was what I needed, I guess.
Crazy though, right? Isn't that crazy? And then after, like, as the episode, like, it was what, like 5 to 10 minutes, not even, and like
I didn't even
you had so many more followers.
I wasn't even paying attention. Like he was like, do you see the comments? I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't even on my phone, so I didn't realize. But like when I saw one person was like, she's at 2,500. I was like, holy shit. And then like it just was nonstop. Like those first 3 days, I was like, I don't even know what to do. Like, how do I answer all these people?
Right?
My phone was blowing the fuck up. I was like,
so much exposure. I mean, it's all good exposure, but then it could be overwhelming too. Like, holy shit, there's a lot of messages. Like, I'm not used to this.
Yeah, so I think it was by Friday, I was like a little burnt out, and I was like, all right, I'm tapping out, people.
Isn't that crazy though? How many people that you can reach just by like an influencer? But not only that, like that so many people actually connected to you. And I'm sure you got so much good feedback, you know, just from that episode, and people who might have felt the same way or struggle with anxiety or being on camera and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that too. I was like, wow, it's crazy how much one person can have so much power in a way to like influence that many people within such a short period of time. But yeah, you know, what is the second thing you said?
It's like the exposure that you were getting, and also like how many people could actually connect with you on certain things that you might not have, you know, even thought of, like dealing with anxiety or dealing with being on camera and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that was like another shocking thing. Like, I don't know, I guess I didn't expect so many people to resonate in some strange way. I was like, really? Okay. But yeah, and the messages were crazy, like, you know, and just to all the people who kept saying like, I feel the same way about video, or like I like people who reached out who have like legit YouTube channels who are like, I still hate video. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Wow. So it was cool even for me to have the feedback come back to me, to realize like I'm not the only one who feels that way. So it was cool to hear a lot of people's stories.
Yeah, and I definitely can relate to that. Like, I come across as a very, you know, kind of aggressive, kind of in your face, kind of loud kind of guy, but at the same time, like pressing that damn red button to record yourself and then listening to yourself is kind of like, Jesus Christ, this is ridiculous, you know?
Still, like, it's gotten a little bit easier, even though it's been like a week and some change, but it's not what it was before, where I was like, this is not happening at all. Like, I'm not doing it. I actually thought about it, and I'm actually kind of sad I deleted it. I made a video, what was it, 5 years ago or something, when I was trying to go to Europe after high school. And I was like crying in it because I was like, I don't know if this is going to happen. Like, I'm scared to go. And I was like, such a vulnerable video. And I remember watching it and I was like, this is fucking horrible. I was like, I can't watch this shit. I was like, who's going to want to watch this? And I was like, no. But now I was like, shit, I probably should have kept
it. I know. I have those moments too. And so many videos that I've deleted, or I've like done so many takes on anything, even like what I post on YouTube, like YouTube stories IG stories and stuff. And I'm like, I don't like the way that sounds. But then I go back to it, I'm like, God damn it, you should have just posted that.
Yeah. I'm kind of learning to just like post without giving a shit. If it's like, I shouldn't have said that. Like, well, I mean, I cut it out, but like for some reason, I'm like this last video I just did today, I was like, oh, like, thank you at the end. And I was like, thank you? The fuck am I saying thank you for? I was like, you fucking idiot. I was like, oh my God. I was like, thank you, really? So I was like, let me cut that out.
That's hilarious.
I don't know why. Like, I did that like twice, and I was like, why am I saying thank you? What the fuck?
That's hilarious.
So weird.
But it seems like you're doing great now, you know, like these constant videos that you're posting. And like I see you're posting too, like about your chapters. You're like reading like a
Mhm.
segment and
Mhm.
posting that. So that's like really cool, like especially being a
Yeah.
writer.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing the reading part. That's fun for me
Hmm.
because it's like I'm like reliving it again. So it's cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
So like when did you start writing? Because I knew you back in like I think sixth or seventh grade.
Mhm.
And then high school, like we weren't really that close, but we had a few classes together and stuff,
Mhm.
or I think.
Yeah.
And you were always like a quiet, like unassuming
Mhm.
girl. But
Mhm.
I always knew there was like a little wisp in there somewhere, like a little badassery and stuff. And then especially talking to your brother too, like just how he is, I'm like, all right, it's probably in the family, you know? So
Yeah. Yeah.
how'd you get into like writing? Like,
Well, I've always excelled in writing when I was in school. So writing was always like my strong suit. I loved English. So um there was always something. I think because I was so quiet in school, writing was like my space to like be me and like express myself in some way. And then um I've always journaled as a kid. I've always journaled a lot. And then this current book took me 4.5 years to write.
wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. It
Holy
took me a
shit.
long yeah, it took me a long time. 'Cause, like, I was still, like, I would write some of it, but then I was like, "No, I'm not done yet," like, and now looking back, I was like, "I didn't live chapter 8 yet." You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it took such a long time for that stuff. So, like, this second one is easier because I'm like, it's fiction, like, I'm making it up. This one was, like, my real
Hmm.
life, it was a span of, like, what was it? Yeah, like 10 years or something, so it took me a long time.
People don't realize how hard it is to write a book either. You know, you're just like, oh,
I
they just
know.
wrote a book. That's how they became famous. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. But you think about it back in school, you're like, "Oh my god, a 10-page paper.
Oh
What's
yeah.
that?" And I'm like, I wrote like 100 plus pages. I don't know how I did it,
Hmm.
but it was it was definitely a really cool experience and I'm glad that I kept my um what was it, my travel journals throughout the years cuz I would have never remembered half the shit that
Hmm.
I had.
Was it hard like initially? Because like I've thought about writing. Like I like to write and then like express thoughts, just like you're saying, like
Mhm.
taking stuff from your mind and put it on paper,
Mhm.
and eventually like put it into like video form.
Mhm.
But like I feel like everybody might want to write a book one day, but they have no
Mhm.
idea how, or even like how to go about it. You know?
Yeah. Um I don't think anybody truly knows. Really, there's things out there where people will be like, "Oh, like how to write a book in like 2 months or whatever." And for me, I don't think you can rush something like that. Like if it's something creative and it's something that means a lot to you, like you can't like a friend said to me, it's like a masterpiece. Like Mozart didn't like rush his best symphony or whatever his music and stuff like that. That took years or however long,
Hmm.
so it's like it takes time. But I think if you like, I just wrote it like I was writing like a long paper. I didn't even care about like how to format it and all this shit because like I'm in a lot of writing groups like on Facebook and there's a huge writing community on Twitter.
Hmm.
And just reading and just hearing other people's like experiences with it really helped me like, okay, well, I'm definitely not doing that, or like, oh, I'm definitely going to make a note and do it like this. So like that's kind of how I learned. I just learned from other people and then kind of just went my own way also, like didn't take everybody's advice to heart. I took bits and pieces. So but it was definitely a learning curve.
Yeah, that's what Gary always says too. Is like to be patient. You know, like things take time.
Hmm.
Be patient, and we're in this like instant gratification kind of
Yeah.
place right now. Everybody wants everything yesterday. How fast can you make a website? How fast can you put out a product on the website? How fast
Uh-huh.
can you turn a buck? You know.
Yeah.
So, and then I saw your blog. You have a really nice blog. A lot of good content on there. A lot of
Yeah.
good writing. It's really awesome. I saw the one with the
Thanks.
horseshoe bend, and I
Mhm.
was recently there a few months
Mhm.
back in February.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like a lot of great places, connecting with a lot of good people. And what?
Yeah, I haven't written in a while. I've like even though it was last year, I want to write my Cuba piece because
Mhm.
Cuba was cool. Um, but yeah, it's been a cool and wild ride when it comes to writing. I had a thought and I just lost it.
Well, how was the blog like when you first started the blog? You know, 12
Yeah.
years ago was a long time, to start a blog. That's really pretty early, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was like in the height of like the heyday of blogs.
Hmm.
Because I really wanted to just be a travel blogger for full time, and that's kind of what I was trying to plan on doing when I was going to Europe. I was like, no, I'm going to do this full time because there was a lot of people that I knew in the travel blog world that was doing that, but it wasn't as easy as I thought, and I think I missed the opportunity of probably doing video back then.
Hmm.
And then I wasn't traveling as much as I could have, and I just kind of lost that luster for being a full-time travel blogger. And then it just, I kind of tried doing it when I went back like in 2014 to go live there to try to do it that way. And I was like, this is just not happening. I kind of like I still like to write about traveling and stuff like that, but then this is kind of like this battle that I've had for 12 years where I'm like, do I give this up or do I change it? And it was just it's kind of always been like that where I'm like, I'm not traveling like I used to,
Hmm.
but I still love to travel and still talk about it. But I also have like this whole different side where I'm more like artistic and creative with my writing and like, how do I showcase both, you know?
I totally know. Totally know. I started a blog in like 2014 or 15,
Mhm.
and it was my own personal blog. I was supposed to be all like into travel and stuff. That was when I was going to Hawaii a couple times, every like other year. And
Mhm.
I wanted to like take pictures, I wanted to write about it, but always something got in the way or I let something get in the way. So I put it
Mhm.
off. I still have the website, but it's not launched. So
Mhm.
now the podcast takes precedence, but I know that feeling where you're like shuffling and then you're trying to figure out what's going to work, what's not going to work. And it's not easy making a website either.
No,
And taking the
I learned
time.
yeah, and I learned back in the day, I learned back on WordPress.
Yeah, same here. And then I switched over.
Yeah, I kept WordPress for a long
Those fucking
time.
plugins.
Oh my god, I'd be on there for
Yep.
hours. Like, and then when I didn't know something, I'd be like, "All right," I'd be YouTubing it and trying to figure it
Yes.
out.
Oh my god, yeah.
For
I would be in Panera Bread, sitting on my little laptop, like.
Mhm. Yeah, so I had it for a while, and then, like, honestly, within maybe a year or 2, like, recently, kinda, I switched over to Squarespace.
Yep.
I'm like, "Never look back. This is so easy."
Give me the template, post your stuff.
Yeah, and
Squarespace, I use it too. It's awesome.
yeah, it's great. So, but yeah, you never know when that time will come when you never know. I feel like just keep your blog anyway because you never know when you actually might get a spark and you're like, "Oh, now I know how I could use it."
Yes,
You know?
definitely.
Yeah.
So when did you like first go when you traveled? Because I was reading like a little bit of your blog and it was saying that you went
Mhm.
to Europe initially, like it was a high school trip.
So I don't I wish I could find out who the teacher was because so how people to people works is well, they changed the rules now because I reached out to them recently, but back then a teacher had to nominate you to go.
Hmm.
So I got nominated to go and then I forget where it was, somewhere in Monroe or something where I had to go to this school like my me and my dad went. So he was like, "Listen, if you want because I think I was 17. I don't know. I was junior or senior. I don't remember. Probably junior year. But he was like, well, you're going to graduate soon. He's like, this could be like an early grad gift. Either you can have your car, like since you're learning to drive, or you could take this trip instead. And I was like, I want the trip. Fuck the car. I was like,
Smart.
I want the trip. So I got to go and I was like 17. But it was um and then I reached out to the company because I was like, is there any way that I could find out who that teacher was? Because like I have to thank that teacher
Yeah.
for changing my life. and they were like, "Oh, well," they had some, like, I don't know, like, corporate stuff where they're, like, not getting along with, like, the new person who took over, and they, like, deleted and got rid of, like, all the files from back then. I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
"Fuck."
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so I was like, "I guess I'll never know unless that teacher ever hears me talking about it and comes forward and is like, 'That was me.'" But, yeah, it was
Did you ever go on a trip, like, before then? Outside the country with, like, family or anything?
back then, I mean, I went to Canada, but I feel like Canada doesn't count. I'm like,
Not
"That's
really.
not no,
Maybe a little, I
a
guess.
little," but, like, that's kinda where, like, I guess the furthest I've ever gone. Because me and my dad and my brother used to go up to Canada and, like, do, like, a fishing trip every summer and, like, stay in a cabin and, like, sit on a lake,
Mhm.
and, I think that's part of the reason why I enjoy being in nature and being cut off from things because there was no Wi-Fi up there. You were in the middle of nowhere, just a cabin and a lake, and that's it.
Yeah, gotta
So,
love it.
like, yeah.
It's the best.
Mhm.
Away from everything, just isolated
'Cause we
in
used to do that
nature.
before, yeah, we used to do that before school. So we would, like, the week, no, like, end of August, we would go, and then it would be nice because then we would, like, read the summer books that we were, like, required to read up there, and then just chill out before, like, the school year started. So it was a nice way to, like, start the school year.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you went to Europe, in when you were 17. How was that
Mhm.
experience, like, going to Europe? And you went, like, completely by yourself or you were with a group?
I mean, I was with by myself, but then, like, so how people to people works was it's an educational thing. So I got college credit to go. Um, and then um they chose, so it was like I think a group of like 50 kids or something like that, but they were from all over New Jersey. So like everybody was like complete strangers, but like prior to going like once a month or like every other weekend or something, we had to meet up, do projects, and like we all had to like, and this was including the parents too, like we had to do um what is it, volunteer work
Mhm.
in places in Jersey. So I mean, we sort of knew each other before we left, but like not really.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, we were like crying and like we didn't want anybody to leave. Like we were so close
Mhm.
after that trip. It was so cool.
That's the best, like, trips really connect you to people, like, last year, I went to Greece with my wife, and,
Nice.
like, every trip that we ever go on, though, we always meet somebody that we always stay in touch with.
Mhm.
I went to DR one year, and we're still in touch with these people, like,
Yeah.
it's the craziest thing, going on trips
Yeah.
and, like, bonding in that way, there's
Mhm.
something really special about it.
There's something I can't pinpoint what that is. It's almost like I don't know if there's like almost like time stops in
Mhm.
some weird way. And because I'm still friends with people that I've traveled and met, and I met them one time.
Yeah.
We had one
Yep.
conversation. Yeah, I'm still really cool with them.
Mhm.
And it was like years ago. So there's something about traveling. I don't know what it is. I can't name it. It's hard to describe. It's just I don't know. They seem like people seem to be more open,
Yeah.
I guess.
Less stress when they're on vacation, they're kinda just
Yeah.
chilling out, open. They're open,
Mhm.
more sensitive to being in relationships, like, as, like, friends or,
Mhm.
acquaintances and stuff, getting to know one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something else.
Yeah.
But so where'd you go exactly in Europe?
Um, so for that first one, it was like 20 days to 6 different countries. So it was
Damn, almost like a month. Holy
yeah.
shit.
But yeah, so it was a lot. We were on like one of those like big coach buses.
Mhm.
I mean, it wa- it was an exhausting trip, but it was fun at the same time. Plus I was like 17 or something, so like when you're that young, you don't give a shit about
Yeah.
sleep really. Um, but we went to like I think we flew into Switzerland. We went to Switzerland, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, UK, and France.
Wow. It's like 6,
Yeah.
7 countries right there
Yeah.
in 20
And
days, damn.
yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where did you
it was
stay? Like, was it in like hotels or hostels or?
we stayed in both. We
Mhm.
stayed in both. But we they had it was just very educational, which I liked because we just met like people like, you know, like I remember this one where it was like we went to this like farm in Germany and it was like how this lady was showing us like how they make like fresh milk from their cows and like she made us like fresh bread. It was just like super, super cool to meet all these people.
Wow.
Yeah.
People live such different lives too, you know? When you travel to other places, you're like, "Wow, this is how they do things here?"
It opened my world, and then, like, I think my senior year, I was like, to me, I was a completely different person, like, I didn't feel like I was, like, that shy girl anymore.
Mhm.
It just, like, gave me such a confidence to, like I was like, "What?" I was like, "This is amazing." Like, I was like, "I need to keep going." And then I was like then the next year after I graduated high school, I went back for 2 months to go backpacking by myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're so young too. Like, I mean, when you're 17, like you think you're fucking hot shit and you're like, you
I
own the
know.
world or whatever. But when you look back at it, like you're super young. You don't know. Maybe you
I
have a checking
know.
account. Maybe
Yeah,
like
yeah, I mean, my family was always they're super open and like super supportive of stuff like that, like, follow your heart and passion for things. So when I think back of it now, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I was 18. My family let me go by myself. Like, you guys fucking nuts. But I went with my cousin, but like still, we were both because he's 2 years older than me. So I mean, he was 20.
Mhm.
I mean, we were still very young to be going, and we only did Germany, Switzerland, and Austria for 2 months.
Mhm.
But, like, that one was different because I'm like that one was like, "We're on our fucking own.
Yeah.
We need to figure it out." For
So what was like the worst experience, like the most terrifying experience over there, being there by yourself and figuring shit out? And like you don't speak the language, right?
No.
Yeah.
I unfortunately have so many because it's just, like, so many crazy shit has happened during traveling, but I think the scariest one was when I got sick, and I think anywhere, wherever you are, when you're not close to home, being sick is the worst.
Mm.
And I was in Switzerland, and I I don't know, I got sick from someone because I shouldn't have done it. It was so stupid. She was like, "Oh, I feel sick," but she's like, "Have my beer," and I was like, "Okay, whatever." And I don't know what she had. She was like, has the flu or something. And like it was summertime, and I was freezing. Like I was in a hoodie like this.
Mhm.
My cousin was a dick and was like, "Oh, I'm going to stay here." And I'm like, and I think my money was running out. And I was like, I had to fly back early. And he was like, "Well, I'm staying." I was like, "What do you mean you're staying?" And I was like, he's like, "No, I'm gonna stay." And I'm like, but where we flew into Germany. So like we were gonna have to like circle back to Germany towards the end.
Mhm.
And I was like, "So you're gonna make me go travel back to Germany from Switzerland by myself when I'm sick?" I was like,
That's really screwed up.
yeah, I was so pissed. I was like, fuck. But like, and then so when I finally made it back, um, I was like, went to the hostel. I was like, "Listen, I don't feel good. I don't know what I have. Like, where can I go?" And like, I think at 7 p.m., like they close like their pharmacies out there. And he was like, "Well, there's like a pharmacy like under the train station." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Fuck." I was like, "Oh my God." So like, I didn't go to a doctor or anything. Like, I'm going to this pharmacy and I'm like, "I think this is what I have." I was like, "I feel like I have the flu, but I don't know."
Mhm.
So they gave me some like German fucking medicine. I can't read the fucking label. I don't know how many to take. I just took one because I was like, "I'm not fucking with this shit."
Well,
And then it was like I don't know what the hell it was, but that was terrifying because I didn't have like a thermometer like I knew I had a fever, but like that was scary because then like it just sucks being by yourself. And I was like, and I had the coolest fucking roommate and I'm still cool with him today. He was like my bunk mate. Like he was
mhm.
like on the bottom bunk with me, and he knew I was sick, and he was from LA, and he was like, "Did you just take that medicine?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like he was like, "Be careful with that." He's like, "That shit will fuck you up." I was like, "I feel like I'm tripping balls." I was like, "What is this shit?" He's like, "Just don't take too much." I was like, "No, I only took one." I was like, "I'm not
Wow.
taking any more." But he was like, "If you need anything, like let me know." And he like, he like looked after me, which was good.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was pretty scary.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine that. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. So that sucked.
So where else have you been in Europe? Like
Um,
it seems like you've went to so many places just in that one
mhm.
area.
Yeah, Europe was kind of my thing for a bit. I still love it and miss it there. I went to Italy also. Um,
How'd you like Italy? That's on my next like list if I'm to
it's
go somewhere.
yeah, it's cool. It's fucking huge. Um, to me, it's a trip on its own. Like, um, it's you can do. I feel like you need to have like at least a solid 2 weeks to really enjoy it. Because it's so big. But the food was amazing because I when I was living in Switzerland and I was like over it and I left and I went down to Italy, I was like, I can't wait to have seafood. I was so obsessed with seafood because in Switzerland they're landlocked.
Mhm.
So there wasn't much variety or it was hard to get seafood there. And I was like, oh my God, I just want seafood. And I met these two girls from couch surfing
Mhm.
and I traveled with them to Italy. We actually really hit it off because I think they're from the West Coast, and we had a girls' weekend
Mhm.
in Italy, and it was amazing.
Ugh.
And and they were like hating me because I was like, I swear to God, if I don't have seafood during this fucking trip, they were like, we need to get her seafood. She won't shut the fuck up. But it was the best food I ever had,
Oh.
hands down. And the wine was unbelievable.
Yeah. Calamari,
Yes.
seafood.
They had these weird little things because we went to Cinque Terre, and so
Mhm.
they have like I don't know, like little cones. Like I guess like if you were to get like fries or something, like a paper cone,
Oh
but it
yeah.
was like stuffed with like all seafood,
Oh
like like fried up or whatever it was.
man.
It was crack. It was so good.
You didn't gain any weight over there though. I
No,
don't know how
well
you're
oh
walking around so much, right?
well you could yeah, but yeah, there's so much walking.
Mhm.
That's why I like it there too, because there's just like
Did you have authentic pizza?
yeah, it was good. It's different. Theirs is different than ours,
Mhm.
but I appreciate theirs, but I'm like, nah, I'd rather have New York.
Yeah. What about the pasta?
Pasta was crack. I remember I had like a vegetarian dish that blew my mind,
Mhm.
and I was like, this is amazing, like absolutely amazing. Like it was just so fresh, and like the meats were just like unbelievable, like everything there.
Yeah. They know how to cook, that's for sure. Ugh.
Yeah, you just don't find anything else like that here. Unless well, there's one restaurant in the city that is comparable to me to
Mhm.
like Italy. It's like this little hole in the wall down in Soho.
Mhm.
Like not even joking, it's so tiny, but it's like the cheapest Italian food, but it's so authentic and it's so great. I'll have to like give you the name because I forgot, but it's so good.
So what sights did you see over there? Other than the food, like where did you go notably?
Let me see. I didn't spend that much time there. I went to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which was like pretty uneventful. Like
Just this tilted building.
it was weird because like when you're walking down the street to like go up to it, you just like out of nowhere you'll see this building like this. And you like it almost gives you like vertigo a little bit. You're
Mhm.
just like, whoa, that's like weird.
Yeah.
Like from like a distance. Um But yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, I was like, all right, it's a leaning tower. Okay. And then it's just like it's a lot smaller than I thought. Like, I thought it was big. I
Mhm.
mean, it's big, but like, I thought it would be bigger. Um, and then it's just like a field of people like taking those like funny photos with it. And
Yeah.
that's it. But to me, Pisa is like a day trip. Like, you can just go there and bounce.
You see the Colosseum?
I didn't get to see any of that.
No.
No, I only went to Pisa and like another little town called Rimini, which is like
Mhm.
a beach town. Because I was like trying to work somewhere else in Italy, but Italy was difficult to find work when I was there.
So you're traveling and working at the same time, like
hmm
overseas?
Yeah, I mean, when I went to Switzerland, I was working in the hotel
Mhm.
there, and I was like when I went, I had because I booked a one way ticket when I went, so I had no plan of where I was gonna live, where I was gonna work, and
That is so brave and so ballsy,
yeah,
like, unbelievably.
yeah, it was scary as fuck. Like it didn't hit me until I got to the airport, and my dad was like about to be like, oh, okay, bye, like have fun and good luck and whatever. And I was like, fuck, I was like, I'm scared, Dad. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? He's like, this is gonna be the best thing for you. He's like, fucking go. He's like, I've always wanted to do something like this. And he's like, you know, you're gonna enjoy it. Things will work out. And if not, obviously you just fly home.
That's awesome that you have his
Yeah.
support like that. That's so empowering too because, like,
Yeah.
you feel, like, just good, like, just to
Yeah.
hear that, like, "Okay, got this," you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. But and I was going back to the same hostel that I went back when I was 18,
Mhm.
and with the hopes of like in my mind I was like they're gonna give me a job, they're gonna remember me, and like I'm gonna live there and blah blah blah. And I was like, I haven't been here in 6 years. I was like, I don't know. I literally just walked up to the door. I was like, hey, like, do you remember me? And I was like, there was like this other, like the manager, and I was like, where's the manager at? Because I remember we had a conversation when I was 18 where he was like, if you can work here, just get your Italian or get an EU passport. And I was like, fine, okay. Which I did. I wound up getting. That took 6 years to get. And then I like remember going around the corner into the garden and I was like, hey, he was like, holy shit. And I was shocked he remembered me that quick. He was like,
Mhm.
I was like, I'm back. I was like, I want to work here and I want to live here. And he's like, you got it. He's like, you can work here. He's like, let me.
Dude, what a hookup. Holy shit. You come back
So
there, you need a job? No problem.
within a week, I had a
Wow.
job and a place to live. And then I had a friend of mine who I knew from 6 years ago reach out to me because he heard that I was coming out there, and he's like, "Hey, you can stay with me until you can find your place." And I was like, "Wow!" I was like, "How crazy is this?" I
Man.
was like, the whole synchronicity of it, things were
Yeah.
just falling into place, and I was like, "Okay, this is gonna work. This is gonna work."
And how old were you at that time?
That time I was 24.
24. So you had gone to college, not gone to
Mhm.
college?
Yeah, I graduated college, and then I was like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I went to jobs after
Mhm.
after college. I was like, no, I need a break.
Yeah.
And I honestly wasn't sure what I wanted to do after college, and I really wanted to travel, and I got like a teaching certificate to like teach English. And that was kind of going to be my plan. But that didn't work out either.
I know, it's every time, like, you have a plan to work something out, it works out in, like, such a different way.
Yeah, because my plan was to try to either teach English because I was gonna try to go out further to like Thailand or to India
Mhm.
where it was cheaper to live because I was like, I can't sustain living here much longer with the pay that I was getting. And so I was like, I have to go out further out where it's cheaper. But I wasn't staying long enough to like go through the process of like getting a visa and stuff. And I was just like, my money's running out. I was like, I'm just like screwed. So
Yeah.
it just didn't work.
So did you start writing, like, when you were 24 or even before that?
No,
Like, for the blog like, for the book? Like, when did you start writing for Spiritual Nomad?
so I didn't really necessarily know I was writing for a book. I just always was writing in my journal, and I don't know why I had such a huge pull to do that every day. Because there, there's some in my old travel journal, like the black one that I have that I talk about. I can tell. Like, I used to even write when I was drunk, wasted. I was like, "No, I need to write this page." I'm like, "I don't care how drunk I am." I was like, "I gotta remember what happened today." Um, so, and, I don't know. I honestly didn't know until maybe, I'm gonna say maybe a few years ago. I was just like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna try to do it." Because I was like, "Maybe I can compile all my stuff into one thing
Mhm.
and see what happens."
But you had your travel blog at that time though, right? So you were still
Yeah.
adding some things there.
Yeah, so I was still doing that, but then I just wanted to, because I've heard stories where people have they like when I would come home and I would tell friends and family my stories, and but I would tell them stuff that was not in my travel blog because I just didn't think it was I don't know, appropriate, I guess.
Yeah.
Or I would tell them other things that happened and they're like, "That's so crazy. You should tell people that." And then I was just or people were so inspired by certain things that I did, and so then I was like, maybe I should just try to write it all together. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
still, you know.
It's so unassuming too. Like you come across so unassuming. Like if you were to say, "Hey, guess how many places I've been?"
Mhm.
I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
never guess that you
Yeah.
lived, after high school, after college, overseas for so long. The majority of your adult life, you've lived in
Mhm.
Europe.
Well, no, I mean, I was out there for a while, and then I lived in Switzerland for, it really wasn't as long as I hoped. I was there for 3.5 months, but
Mhm.
I did travel between high school years and then the end of high school into my college years, or after college. I did travel quite a bit, and I did one of my favorite ones, even though it was a difficult one, was Costa Rica. I was there for 2 weeks. I did a road trip through there,
Oh, awesome.
but with a guy that I met in Switzerland and hung out with him for one day, because
Wow.
he took me rock climbing,
Mhm.
and I didn't realize how much I loved rock climbing, and he was so cool. And then when we came back, we were still in touch, and I was like, I gotta go rock climbing again. I was like, I'm hooked on it. And he's like, let's go to another country and we'll go rock climbing there.
Man,
So we chose Costa Rica, and it was awesome.
damn. That's where my wife went there actually for her yoga certification,
Yeah,
and she's wanted me to go there. She always raves about it.
I
It's
love
such a
it
beautiful
there.
country.
It's so beautiful, and it's cheap too, which is
Mhm.
cool if you do it right.
Yeah. So were you like soul searching or something, do you think? Like were you looking for something? Because I feel like a lot of as soon as I saw your book cover actually, I thought of that movie Wild with Reese
Mhm.
Witherspoon, have you seen that?
Mhm. Mhm. I haven't seen it, but I wanna read the book.
Oh yeah. You'll love it. I mean, I haven't read the book. I'm one of those guys who always watches the movie but never reads the
Oh,
book.
no, I like the book. There's so many books out there that I'm like, I would watch the movie, I'm like, "Damn, you guys took out so much shit."
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I was. I guess I was kinda hooked on how good I felt when, because you know what it was, when I was dealing with anxiety in high school and college, there was such a control thing where I felt like I had to constantly control to feel good.
Mhm.
So when I would travel, I had no control because I'm in a foreign country. I don't speak the language. I don't know where the fuck I'm going half the time. And I was starting to realize when I would let go, because I would be like, how come when I travel I don't have anxiety, but when I come home I do? And
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what was it about traveling, and who, because I feel like I'm a different person when I
Yes.
travel.
Yes.
And I was kind of hooked on that, and I was like, how do I bring that back home?
Mhm.
So I just realized that I think it was more over the years of just all right, let it go. Like if shit happens, shit happens, and trying not to control everything. And um if and I think that's kind of what I was searching for. And I think I also was searching for love also in all the wrong places.
Mhm.
And then I convinced myself that nobody would be with me because I love traveling so much.
Mhm.
And it's affected some of my relationships that I've had. Broke up with somebody solely because of my traveling, because they wanted to settle down and I didn't.
Mhm.
And um I think that was a huge thing too. Because I was like, who's gonna want to be with me when I want to travel all the time? You know?
Yeah.
But it worked out because I'm married too. So
That's great. How
yeah.
long have you been married?
Like a month.
Congratulations.
I know. We got married last month, but we've been together for like 5 years.
That's awesome. Did you meet him in another country?
No, it's so funny. Like, so I always had this like thought in my head, like, oh, I'm gonna meet someone like abroad. I'm gonna wind up moving abroad somewhere. And I'm like,
So Hollywood.
yeah, right. So I came home, and of course, like I meet my now husband, and he's like lives in fucking New York. Like I was like, oh, of course. He's like fucking in my own backyard. Of course he would. I was like, of course he would be. So, but he's super cool, and he doesn't travel as much as I do, but because he's been with me, like he loves to do it,
Mhm.
and he wants to see the world, and he's always like, whenever we travel, he's like, "You're the traveling Jersey girl. You have to plan everything." I mean, we don't plan super. Like, I just know how to travel well, where you're
Mhm.
not spending a lot of money, and just little tips and stuff like that.
So where have you guys gone together, like travel wise?
Our first trip was Montreal.
Mhm.
That was like within our first year. That was interesting. We didn't get to do that much there. We were there for like a long weekend, and then we've been to did we go? We've done a lot of like little road trips throughout the states and stuff like that. And then like we went to Austin, which is awesome.
Nice.
Like my dad lives there now.
Wow.
Yeah, he
So
loves
many
it
people.
there.
Austin's like building up in a big way.
It's
I keep hearing a few people moving there or hey, we went to Austin. Like,
it's such a like I'm trying to. It's such a progressive
mhm.
city, and it's
I heard there's a lot of hippies over there too.
yeah, it's a little bit hipster. It's like I would say kind of like Brooklyn-ish,
Mhm.
like how that crew of people. The beer scene is awesome. The food's amazing. It's cheap out there. That's why I think a lot of people are going out there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, we've been there, and then like where else did we go? Oh yeah, Cuba was our biggest like. I think that was like our first like real international trip together. That
Mhm.
was interesting. Cuz I told him I was like, "Are you ready for this?" I was like, "I'm so down to rough it. I have no problem."
Mhm.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He's not that much about roughing it. And I was like, "You ready?" Cuz I was like, "I think you're going to be in for a rude awakening." But it was definitely interesting. That's for sure.
Wow.
It was really cool.
So have you been to like the Asia side?
No, I want
Not
to
yet.
so bad. I just don't know about that damn flight.
Yeah, the flight is pretty crazy. I went to India with my wife a few
Oh my
years
god.
back.
I'm obsessed with India.
Dude, it was an insane trip. I
I'm
mean,
sure.
it was definitely culture shock for me. Like I've never
Yeah.
that was like the furthest I've ever been, you know?
Hmm.
Until I met
Is that where
like
her family's from?
yeah, her family's from India.
Oh, cool.
So it was super different. People like the lifestyle is just it's just so interesting being an outsider like going there and like just staying there and kind of like being observant, you know, and just like
Mhm.
sitting back and like watching what people do day to day
Mhm.
and like people in the markets and stuff or
Mhm.
trying to sell like shoes or trying to sell like different materials like cloth and stuff and that's what I found interesting was like we didn't it wasn't like a fancy place, it was more like a village where we were at.
Hmm.
So it was very just different in so many ways. Like there's cows walking around the street,
I'm sure. Yeah.
rickshaws, like all these different things. The food was amazing, but
Did you get sick out there?
um
Cause that's my like.
I had like some stomach problems a
Yeah.
couple
So I was like,
times because
yeah.
I might have eaten like something that I shouldn't have ate or whatever.
Don't they call it
And
like deli belly? I think they call it or something.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad though. Like there was like probably 1 or 2 days where I decided just not to eat anything. And like we were taking like trips to like all these different temples, like this Buddhist temple, which was or
So
just
cool.
all made out of marble and stuff. It was unbelievable the amount of temples over there.
Hmm.
And I was just like, because the road trip to go to some of the places were like several hours, I'll just not eat because I was not doing a public bathroom. That was not happening over there.
Oh God, I would never.
Yeah. There was one time I made the mistake of going into a public bathroom and I came out and Ro was like, she was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I want to go back to the house now." It's disgusting.
That happened to me in Cuba too when we were in the airport and I was like, I went into the airport bathroom and then like I walked right back out because I like got sick towards the end and I was like, I think I'm gonna get sick.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me just go before we get on the plane so I'm not getting sick on the plane. And I came right back out. He was like, that was fast. I was like, I'd rather puke in a bush.
Yeah.
Like, I am not doing that. I don't know what the fuck that was.
Right?
I
Like,
was like,
and that's normal for some people, you know?
yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Especially being like, because I was like the only one using like the public bathrooms, and my husband was like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Because they don't have toilet paper in Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so when I was doing a lot of research, like I brought rolls from home.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck this shit. And
Same in India. That's what they don't have any toilet paper either. They have like a little hose thing, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. Take me back to the place. I'm good.
Like, that's why I was like laughing because I was like, this trip's gonna make us a lot closer.
Right?
So nuts. But I appreciate that shit because there's just so many. It sucks sometimes being in the moment, but like
Yeah.
it makes for good stories.
Yeah.
Later.
Definitely. And I don't know, like culturally, learning about people's culture when you're actually living there is really special because if you can just take it all in and you're not working all the time, like even here, I feel like even people who come from like, let's say Switzerland, they come to New York City, they can take it in a lot better than we can because we live here, we're working here, we're doing all these things. But I don't know, like even like looking back at that trip, there was like things that I saw. Like I saw a peacock that I've never seen before. You know, like I've gone to the zoo here and stuff and seen peacocks, but there was this one town that we went to, and I remember distinctly, like in this farm field, this peacock was walking like so majestically across like this farmland, and it just like spread its wings, and it was like early in the morning, so like the sun was like just coming up, and it was just like memorable, those little moments, you know?
Yeah. That's what I love about traveling so much because it's like those simple little things just really stick with you for a long time.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. How long was the flight there?
I think we had to take a flight to Dubai. We had a layover in Dubai for like a couple hours. And then, so I think like 17, 18 hours.
Jesus.
Something like that. It was long. It was really long.
So long.
But fly Emirates though. If you ever go, fly Emirates. Emirates is a freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I've heard good things about them.
Emirates is amazing. They're just like we weren't in first class or anything. We were in regular, coach, but they took such good care of us and they're so nice. I feel like the space too was pretty good. Like the leg room and everything. It was great.
Yeah, I got my husband is like he's like, I'm never going to India with you. That's all right. He's like, nope, can't do it. Sorry. I was like, yeah, I don't think he would do well there. Like, he's not about Indian food at all. Like, but I am, and I love the culture. Like, so obsessed with it. I think I would go with an empty suitcase and just buy so much shit.
Yeah, there's so much to buy there. Like so
clothes
much.
And jewelry. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, the jewelry. You would love the jewelry. I mean, we went to some of these places, and the gold that they have is like gold you've never seen before.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so let's get into like your book maybe a little bit more. So I still haven't gotten my copy yet.
I know.
I know you're like sold out and on back order and all that good stuff.
I know. I actually have on my phone because I keep checking it because I'm like, the fuck Amazon. But I think it's supposed to come this next week, like Tuesday. I'm supposed to get the order. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully they're on time with it. It's like it sucks too because I'm like this whole Corona thing is like delaying all
Yeah.
this fucking shit.
Yeah, that's another
Like,
thing. Like you can't even travel. We're not gonna be able to travel for some time.
I know.
But
Yeah,
gives you some time though to promote your book.
I know. I mean, this is perfect timing for me.
Hmm.
You know,
It's a great time actually to kind of just see where you're at and then like maybe make your next big leap. And maybe
yeah,
that's what you needed. Maybe you need to
yeah,
slow down to speed up.
yeah. Because I said to myself, like, it's so funny. I said this like a few days before I got onto Gary Vee. I was like, I'm gonna come out of this shit, out of this fucking quarantine, a full time author. I'm telling you, I'm gonna do it. So like, and then a few days later, I was like on Gary Vee. I was like, that's just so wild. But I think things happen like that for a reason.
Oh
'Cause he
yeah.
was just, I think he said something like that where he was just like, I believe like Corona like somehow happened. He's like, look at it. Now we're talking. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know. Shit happens like that. You gotta take advantage of it.
Hmm.
So
So tell me about like a little bit more about your book. Like get into some details of either not just the process, but some of your thoughts going into it. Like putting together all the, like the journaling that you did while you were traveling, and then how you compiled that, and
um
eventually how do you even like launch the book?
well I was doing a lot of promotion of it for a while I was even still writing it, and I was working full time, so it that also took a while. And I used to work in mental health for a bit, very brief time, like maybe a year or two. It's not for me. I actually studied that shit in school, and I was like, yeah, no, not for me. Um, but it was hard to write the book because I was like so burnt out from that field, and like dealing with my own stress and anxiety of like working there and then like trying to get my book out at the same time. And then there was a lot of like self-doubt too with it because I was like, what do I say? And like I'm telling all these stories. I'm like, people are gonna fucking judge me. And like,
Yeah.
it was hard because, I was young and I was single and I met a lot of people and like I had a lot of flings and I was like, fuck. I was like, everybody's gonna think I'm a fucking whore bag. But I was like, but I don't like I don't know. I felt like even if the relationship or the fling was short versus however a few months or whatever it was, I always learned something from it.
Hmm.
Always did. And I was like, I always learned something about myself or like, and then I kept, who I kept like referring back to in my mind? Like, I don't know if you've ever read her book, but Chelsea Handler wrote her book, I think her first one. I
Hmm.
forget what it's called. She talks about so much of her sex life that I was like, Jesus Christ, lady. But it's hilarious. And I was like, it's so relatable.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I've been there, and like, so that part, like talking about like relationships and like people I've met, that was a little scary.
Hmm.
I was like, oh,
Being
what am I
open
doing?
with that side of yourself, right?
Yeah. And then I was like worried too, because I was just like, what if these guys like find out that I wrote about them? I mean, I changed the names and details, but I'm like, if they read it, I'm like, they're gonna figure it out. I was like, well,
They should be honored to be in your book.
yeah. Yeah, you got a whole chapter.
I'm sure they remember you too really well,
I'm
and
sure.
they probably take some things back.
I'm sure. Like
So,
it's funny. One of the guys that I had a fling with on the first trip, he bought it, and I was like, oh, I was like, I'm sweating. I was like, fuck. I was like, I feel like I should tell you that you're in it before you read it. I mean, we weren't intimate at all. It was like a
Mhm.
young thing. Like it was like when I was like, that was like the first trip when I went to Europe. But I was like, I promise there's nothing bad. And he was like, well, I feel honored that I'm in your book. He's like, now I can live forever. And I was like, okay. I was like, just don't be mad at me. But I was like, appreciate that you bought it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. Like, and I hadn't talked to him in years. And I was like, oh, fuck. When I saw his order, I was like, ah, shit. But I was like, enjoy, have fun. But I haven't heard anything from him, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know if he read it or not. But yeah, but it was definitely a long process, and I'm glad that it's done, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that people are resonating with it, and um I do those little snippets, and like somebody was like messaging me yesterday, and she was like, "What? You stopped it there?" Like, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not telling you the whole." I was like, "I'm not reading the whole fucking book to you."
You bitch.
She was like, "Wait, what? What happened?" I was like, "I can't tell you." I was like, "You got to read it." But
What was the hardest part of writing the book?
um I think, right, because the guy, he's the only one that I left his name in there. A friend of mine, Adam, and he was the one that I met in Switzerland that we went rock climbing with, and we went to Costa Rica together, and it didn't like. I feel like because we were together for so long, like 2 weeks, 24/7, don't really know each other. We were butting heads a lot,
Mm-hmm.
so we didn't really end the trip very well. And then, like a year or two after that trip, he died.
Oh man.
So I never got the chance to like squash it.
Mm-hmm. Like
And
reconcile a
so,
little bit.
yeah, I was so upset, and I was in the middle of writing that chapter, and I was like, I can't do this. I was like, can't write this chapter. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I went to a fucking medium because I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't fucking know. I was like, maybe she can channel his ass.
Yeah.
So I did, and I wrote about it in there. And then she, she was like, she was telling me shit that I was like, there's no way she knows this.
Yeah.
None. She was picking up on shit.
So it was a good experience then with the medium. Like it was like it
Yeah,
connected.
yeah.
Wow. I always
She's
was wondering like to do that, but
Yeah. I go to this lady in Jersey. I can give you her. She's legit.
wow.
But she only does like, she'll like channel people who have passed on. Like, she's not
Mm-hmm.
like a psychic or anything. But she told me via him that he wants his name kept in the book. And so I was like, okay. He was like, he's honored, and he said, there's no ill feelings between him and I. He's like, that wasn't, he's like, I wasn't mad. He's like, you were. He was like, I didn't think that trip was bad. You're the one who thought that. Like, you know, he's like, we're good. He's like, and so it was cool, but it was just like shitty that, like,
Yeah.
because I didn't want it to look bad for him also,
Mhm.
and like I reached out to his mom actually, because I was like, I don't know who to talk to, because I don't know you, but I just want to like tell you, like, to him in some way, like, I'm sorry that like
Yeah.
we didn't like mesh or whatever, and I have what she said to me in the book, and like it was just such a cool experience. And then once I did all that, then I was able to write the rest of the chapter and then keep going, you know.
Yeah. So that was the hardest part, huh?
Yeah, that was a hard one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucked.
What was the most fun you had like writing the book? Like other than getting everything finalized.
um I think getting the
It was your first book, right?
yeah, um getting the photos together, like like for the cover,
Mhm.
like that was fun because I did like a photo shoot. And then honestly, I think like getting, like, I found this guy on Twitter. What's his name? Curtis, I think his name is. Yeah, his name's Curtis. He's like, from his company's called CM Designs, but I was like looking for a graphic artist, and I found him on Twitter, and I was like, it's like one in a million if you find a good one on Twitter. Like, a lot of them are fucking shitty.
Yeah.
And I told him my vision and like what I wanted, and he blew it out of the park. I was like, and then I think he also redesigned my website. Like, he did my logo,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, like, first I think he did my logo first, and I was like, holy shit, like, you nailed that. exactly what I wanted, and I got the jerseyness in there, I got the travel, I was like,
Mhm.
yes. So when it was very fun working with him because we just meshed creatively, and I honestly, like, could have, like, maybe not even told him anything, and I would trust that he would nail it.
It's great.
So, yeah, he was awesome to work with, and I've messaged him, like, the other day, I was like, "I got number 2 coming." I was like, "Get ready." So, excited. So that was fun. I
Great.
enjoyed that, yeah.
And now you got the second book coming up,
Mhm. Yeah,
focusing on anxiety. That's a big topic
I know.
everybody struggles with at some point or another. You know, we all
Yeah.
deal with it in different ways, some good ways, some bad ways,
Yeah.
but it seems like it's a pretty like hits home for you like that topic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've kinda dealt with it for a lot. I mean, mine really stems from trauma. It's not, and I think I was kind of always a little anxious in school because I was like shy and just didn't have like, I guess, the confidence or whatever.
Mhm.
Or like I felt like some days I did, some days I didn't. But um I just have felt that, between my own experience and then like when I was working in mental health too, that, and then my husband has a daughter, so she was dealing with it in school and like listening to her and then listening to her friends' stories that she would tell me, and I'd be like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, everybody like doesn't like, and I was like, nobody has coping skills. Where I would hear like, even my sister, like my nephew, and like his group of friends and like what they deal with, and I'm like, oh, like there has to be something for them.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, like, I did my research a little bit where I was like looking for books for kids and teens, and I was like, it's all clinical shit.
Mhm.
And I was like, no fucking teen or kid is going to want to read a clinical book.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to break it to you, but they're not. So I found one lady, I bought her book, and hers wasn't that, like, hers was like a cartoon, but I bought it because I just kind of wanted to get an idea of how she was doing it. But
Mhm.
like, it was still so clinical. Like, she was talking about parts of the brain. I was like, you think a kid's gonna
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
know what part of the brain? Like, no. I was
They
like,
wanna know what they can do.
yeah. So I was like, no, no, no. I was like, there
Yeah.
has to be something. So I wanted to write it like a story where it was like those clinical things are in there, but like hidden in a
Mhm.
way where
Right.
it's not like super in your face, like textbooky, you know? Um, so this is something I'm super excited for. And like my stepdaughter and my husband helped me a lot with this one. They always say, you better give us credit. We helped you a lot. I'm like, but so they were a huge part of it. Um, but I'm super excited for that because I think kids need something.
Yeah.
And I think now, um, and then with social media, which like I think definitely plays a role. And then, even so, even with this stuff now, with what's going on with this whole corona thing,
Yeah.
it's like
I couldn't imagine
there's
being a
no,
kid now, like being home all day with your parents while they're like possibly working from home, or maybe they're not working from home. You
yeah,
know, maybe
it's
they lost their
scary.
job and you have to be home with them all day, other
Hmm.
siblings and stuff. Like, how do you cope in the household right now as a
Yeah,
kid? And as a kid, you don't have that much, I guess, authority as it is. So,
yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's tough for me, and
yeah.
like I'm an adult, it's tough,
Hmm.
and um there's just so much uncertainty out there, and then like I don't know, I don't know what's going on with the kids, like what their thought process is of like what's going on, like are they just enjoying the hell out of it because it's like, ah, fuck it, I'm home,
Hmm.
or are they scared shitless? And I'm sure it's a mixture of both. But um I think this is I don't know, I have a gut feeling about this one. Like I've been really quiet about it,
Hmm.
kind of like I'm not giving so much detail. I am, because I just feel like this is gonna be it. like I don't want to jinx myself.
Yeah. So are you still like finalizing it, or it's pretty
Yeah,
much almost done?
it's done, but I hate editing. It's such a bitch. So now I kind of do how I do it is like I go through my round of it. Like I'll read through it myself and edit it a little bit myself. And then
Hmm.
I have this editor that I found again. I found her on Twitter. She's amazing. She worked with Don Miguel Ruiz.
Hmm.
So the guy who did the Four Agreements, that book, she's worked with him. So she's great. So yeah, and then between her and I, depending. I mean, this one's shorter than my first one, so hopefully it's not so much back and forth. But usually, her and I, like the last one, we did like 3 or 4 drafts back and forth. Like she'll edit it, I'll go back and do it, and I'm like, and I like that like, she allows the creativity there. Like she'll make points of like, I think this needs to be deleted,
Hmm.
and I'll be like, I have to respectfully disagree with you. I'm like, no, I'm keeping it. I was like, this is how because I've had somebody else who critiqued my stuff and said like, oh, there's too much detail. You write in too much detail.
That's gotta be annoying as fuck. Actually, I don't know how I would feel about that.
No, because I was just like, well, okay, but for me, that's my strong suit.
Yeah.
Like, because now then I'm glad I kept it because people who have reviewed it or come back to me told me like I felt like I was right there with you because of the details,
Yeah.
So
Hmm. It's
you
such a
never know.
process, like
Hmm.
from drafting and then
Hmm.
putting it together and then going back and editing it. I could see how it could take years. It's kind of intimidating, actually.
Yeah, it's a long process, but I do think like people try to do it as cheaply as possible, and it doesn't have to be thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's I think that's why it takes a while too, because like I didn't have the money to just drop for my book. I mean, it cost me a bit.
Yeah.
Like my first one cost me a lot, so and then I was doing like a payment plan. That's kind of why it took so long because I was like, yeah, no.
Hmm.
But there's ones out there who are charging like $6,000 to do it. I'm like, are you fucking out of your mind? I'm like, no. So like, I think there's like a happy medium there where it's like, it doesn't. You do get what you pay for.
Yeah.
So
And then after it's done, you got to promote it. Got to
yeah.
get it out there, get that
Mhm.
reach.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of planning. But when do you think this one's coming out?
Well, I have my editor she just booked me for June 1 to do the editing. So it's definitely going to be my book will be ready for her by June. So hopefully, I don't know, hopefully, well, depending on how this whole corona shit goes, I mean like this whole unemployment situation is
Hmm.
insane. I'm like, can you guys fucking pay me? So, um I would say maybe by the end of the summer, maybe in the beginning of the school year, hopefully.
Cool.
I think by September it should be good. I think. Hopefully.
Great. Well, it's
Yeah.
exciting, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you're doing big things here. You can
Yeah,
have
I'm
your
trying.
second book down
Yeah.
full
And I
time.
already have a third in my head. So, cuz I think I'm going to make this kids ones like a little I don't know how many, but I think I'm going to make it a series.
Hmm.
So I already have like the third one after this one. So I haven't started. I'm not even gonna think about it yet, but I have ideas.
Excellent.
So.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to reading your book. Um, a lot of times I end up buying people's books as like support, but then I don't read them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have some like
I
Gary's
have.
books and I haven't read them.
Yeah, I
I'm
have so many
horrible.
books. No, I have so many books too. But I mean, listen, we all are bored out of our minds, so I'm like, now I'm actually like, oh, maybe I should actually sit down and read this book that I've been wanting to read. Like I have so many in my Kindle and I have paperbacks, so I'm like trying to go through them all.
Yeah.
So
And I think you're doing great too, like putting out the content as well, like in conjunction with your books.
yeah.
So that was great advice, that
Yeah,
Gary had, and I think it goes hand in hand.
yeah, I'm just like I'm trying to like find the balance of like I don't know, I feel like I'm running out of things to do because I'm so used to being a writer that I'm like the video part is like I'm like, I don't what do I say? I don't know what the fuck to do.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. And like people want certain things and like that is like overwhelming too because they're just like, you should do this, like you should do that. Like somebody was like, you should do acting videos. I'm like, what?
Acting videos? Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, no, no. I was like, that's asking for a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have
I
fun with it though. Like enjoy your journey, you know? Like this is just like the start still, right?
Yeah, and I think like people are like, "Oh, you should do this. You should look like this and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Do you guys realize like this has only been like a week and some change that
Mhm.
I started doing this shit and I'm like still not 100% comfortable." Like calm your tits, people. Like, like I'm still working through it. Like you're like lucky I'm even fucking doing videos right now. Cause I'm like Gary V, like when he said we're all watching, I was like, fuck.
Yep, you asked for it. You did. Be
I
careful
literally
what
had
you wish for.
I literally had people messaging me like this it made me laugh, but he was like, "Hey yo bitch." He's like, "I'm fucking watching you." And I was like, we're watching." I was like, "Okay, okay." And I was like, "You guys are relentless."
Man,
But I need that. I need that like fire
yeah.
to like motivate me.
It's different too when there's other people's eyes on you, you know, like that, and like people who are actually counting on you. Like some people, they look up to you, right? You
Yeah.
never know, like who you're gonna reach that, or you're actually gonna help. There could be like a person who's 14, 15 years old, who's watching your content right now, and they're like waiting for you to like say something because
I know.
it's just that connection that they have, right?
I know. I had someone reach out to me recently that they've been following me since 2013 and that I inspired them to take a trip and travel. And she was traveling for 6 years. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you really inspired me to do it. I was like,
Wow.
bitch, that's what I wanted to do. But I was like, that's amazing. But yeah, I guess I don't realize it because it's like I'm just doing like I'm doing it a lot for myself, but I'm also like just trying to inspire people. But like, you know, you don't you don't know who you're hitting,
Mhm.
you know? So it's cool when people like not that I'm seeking the validation from it, but it is cool to hear it that like
Yeah, certainly.
I've inspired certain people that much because it's like, wow, I'm like, oh, okay, like my stuff is actually hitting some people.
Mhm.
You know, it's like it's not just to inspire myself, but
It's
I
a
know.
good feeling to matter, you know, to give some significance back to the
Yeah.
world that could
Yeah.
last longer than just like in your own mind, you know?
Yeah, but this was another thing that I thought of like after Gary's call because I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna find out if I suck or not.
Yeah, the criticism, right? Mhm.
Yeah, because I was like, I guess I'll find out if people like my shit. Because that was always a thought in my head. I'm like, maybe I'm just not good. Like,
Yeah.
you know how like Gary will be like, maybe you just fucking suck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, maybe I was like, fuck, now I'm gonna really find out.
Yeah, but that's the truth. Maybe you need that truth. Like, do I suck? Do
Yeah.
I not? Like,
I
so
mean, it's relatively been very, very positive, so that's really
mhm,
reassuring. So, you know, haven't had I really haven't had really negative stuff, just some creepy shit. But
mhm.
I think that comes with the territory.
It's the huge social
Hmm.
media, right?
Yeah, such weirdos out there.
Yeah. They're bored people that don't have
Yeah.
dreams and are not working on things like books and podcasts. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But this is cool. Like it's cool that you're doing podcasts. It's awesome.
thank you. Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
working hard on it.
Yeah. I mean the sound like I could tell like the sound sounds amazing.
hmm
Like it's really cool.
it's been hard, you know, the last few months, or last, yeah, month, since like the Corona stuff, because
Mhm.
I set up the studio at the house and like I had people in and I was like, should I keep it going? And I was
Mhm.
like, it's my home. It's not like I have like a studio that I'm going
Mhm.
to. So
Mhm.
I don't know if I want people like in my house like that right now.
Yeah.
So then I was figuring out how I can do like a Zoom or any kind of video broadcast instead, and would it still
Mhm.
be the same? So this is actually the first virtual one that I'm doing. So
Oh,
this is the
cool.
test run for me.
Nice.
But
Awesome.
yeah, this has been great so far.
Mhm.
I'd love to have you on again,
Yeah,
down the road in another
yeah,
year or
sure.
whatever, do some checkpoints and see where you're
Yeah,
at
cool.
and talk about another book.
Yeah,
So,
this
or
would be cool. I like it.
wherever you're going to travel next.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, hopefully soon. You know,
yeah.
because I think because we got married during this whole Corona shit, so we want to plan our honeymoon at some point.
Yes.
So I don't know. He really wants to go to Japan,
Mhm.
which would be awesome, but he's like, I can't do that flight. I was like, well, I don't know
He
if
can
so.
do it. He can do
Yeah, I
it.
was like, I think you'll be all right.
Just fall asleep on the plane, watch a whole bunch of movies, you'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah, but I was telling him, I was like, this might be the time to kind of buy something now, maybe for the future. I was like,
Yeah.
flights might be legit now.
Mhm.
I was like telling him we should look into it. But
Definitely. It's a great time right now.
I know. I haven't even looked because if I look, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I can go to this place for this
Yeah,
cheap.
it's crazy. It's actually crazy. Don't look.
Yeah, it's gonna make me upset.
But all right, I think we're about to wrap it up here.
Cool.
So just want to say, everybody check out travelingjerseygirl.com where you can find Laura's book, Spiritual Nomad, Journey Within and Abroad. And stay tuned for her second book. Is there a title yet?
I have a title in my head, but I can't say.
She can't say it.
Not yet.
So
Not
stay
yet.
tuned for this second book. It's going to be focusing on teen anxiety and overcoming anxiety. I'm sure it's going to help not just teens, but I'm sure there's going to be some things in there, right? For
Mhm.
pretty much everybody.
Mhm.
And yeah, keep track of Laura on social media. Was it Travel Jers Girl?
Yeah, yeah, it's travel JERZ girl. And
Cool.
it's across the board with all of my social.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today's episode. Say goodbye, Laura.
All right, see ya.
Adios.